Namaste, and welcome to our continuing series on the life divine with our beloved Ranga. We are in the chapter, The Aim of Life, 4 Theories of Existence, and we begin on page 687, the first sentence, "The being is one, but this oneness is infinite."
We have to remember that now Sri Ranga is giving us his view of existence. He is telling us what he believes is the arrangement of the universe and the basic principles of existence.
I would just say he knows rather than he believes.
Okay. No, because in this sense that what he knows also is a belief, because he is giving full credit to the others to see the reality in their own way, which is valid for them.
But this is his way.
Yeah, this is his way, and that's why he knows what he knows, he is telling in that way. No one person or no one philosophy can ever exhaust the description of the reality. So you are fully within your rights to see in your own way, because it is beyond the senses. I am reading the para. The being is one, but this oneness is infinite and contains in itself an infinite plurality or multiplicity of itself. The one is the all. It is not only an essential existence, but an all existence. The infinite multiplicity of the one and the eternal unity of the many are the two realities or aspects of one reality on which the manifestation is founded. By reason of this fundamental verity of the manifestation, the being presents itself to our cosmic experience in 3 poises: the supracosmic existence, the cosmic spirit, and the individual self in the many. Okay? But the multiplicity permits of a phenomenal division of consciousness, an effectual ignorance in which the many, the individuals, cease to become aware of the eternal self-existent oneness and are oblivious of the oneness of the cosmic self in which and by which they live, move, and have their being. But by force of the secret unity, the soul in becoming is urged by its own unseen reality and by the occult pressure of evolutionary nature to come out of this state of ignorance and recover eventually the knowledge of the one divine being and its oneness with it, and at the same time to recover its spiritual unity with all individual beings and the whole universe. It has to become aware not only of itself in the universe, but of the universe in itself and of the being of cosmos as its greater self. The individual has to universalize himself and in the same movement to become aware of his supracosmic transcendence. This triple aspect of the reality must be included in the total truth of the soul and of the cosmic manifestation, and this necessity must determine the ultimate trend of the process of evolutionary nature.
I have 2 questions to ask you to elaborate on. One is the force of the secret unity, And of course, the second is the pressure of evolutionary nature.
So, which is the first question?
The force of the secret unity.
Which line is that?
It begins, but by force of the secret unity.
Yeah, okay. But by force of the secret unity, the soul in becoming is urged by its own unseen reality and by the occult pressure of evolutionary nature. So, you are asking in the same sentence, you are asking.
Same sentence, okay. Yes.
Now, but by the force of the secret unity, he has already explained to us that the unity is there at the highest level in an open manner, and in the becoming, it is there hiding behind the multiplicity. So, in the multiplicity, he has told us that there is an ignorance and you have forgotten your sense of unity. But that the pressure of the unity is such that it is forcing you to go up. It's a divine presence in everything. And the divine presence in everything will not tolerate imperfection. Will it? No, it won't. So it is that which is the force of the secret unity which is making it go up to realize its real unity.
But 99.9% of humanity would not see that the divine does not tolerate disunity.
Does not tolerate the imperfection, I said.
Imperfection, okay.
So because it does not want that imperfection, the divine unity will go towards perfection. That is the force of the unity that he is talking about. The multiplicity you can equate it with ignorance, and the unity you can equate it with the knowledge. So from ignorance, the divine will automatically want to go to the unity. That's the first thing. Secondly, you are saying the occult pressure of evolutionary nature. Now, in any stage, there are two forces that operate. One is an inward force and the other is the evolutionary pressure from above. Okay? So, he is talking of the occult pressure of evolutionary nature. Actually, there are two pressures. One is the divine presence which is wanting to go up out of the imperfection.
In each human being?
Yes, in human beings, even in the lowest form of life, it is there. Okay? It wants to graduate and get out of its imperfection. So that's the inward presence. But there is also an upward pressure from above which is pressing. For instance, the inconscience is here and life is here, but life is now pressing on the inconscience to make it come up. Okay. I like to give the example of two vases, okay, two glasses of water, and you connect it with a tube. When you pour water in one, the water will be the same in both the vases. But if you take your hand and press, this one will rise. So when there is a pressure, there will be a rising. So this is the two pressures that are there. One is the divine presence in everything, which is wanting to get out of the undivine imperfection. That's inward. And the other is the upward pressure to force it to come up. These are the two forces. Okay. So Srila is explaining to us that there is, he is talking about the being and the becoming. The being is that which is static, eternal, absolutely true, and this being which is static moves into manifestation. But when it moves into manifestation, two things happen. One is the unity is broken up into a multiplicity, and the other is the static condition becomes a dynamic condition here.
When you say the being,
Yeah.
be all cap,
Yes. Now, what is this being? That's an interesting question. That's also what I was saying. It depends on the context. When Siddhartha speaks of being and becoming, he is talking of a substance which is absolutely static, a consciousness which is a substance which is static, okay, and real. And the becoming is that same static condition which moves into becoming. So, the best way to explain this is the water behind the dam, which is absolutely static, pure, infinite, transparent, no features. It's all one. You can't distinguish it in 2 points. It's pure, one, and stretching for infinity and static. That's a being. And when it comes down into manifestation, it becomes a river full of movement and it goes into many channels. So the becoming is the being moving into dynamic motion and multiplicity. But this multiplicity is of itself. Now this multiplicity also can be of two types. One is, I take the seed of a fruit. Let's take, I take the seed of a mango. Okay? I plant it. It produces a tree. Now that one seed is producing multiplicity, many mangoes, but of itself. They are all mangoes. This is one type of multiplicity. But the other type of multiplicity is this seed which is there contains all types of trees and all types of fruits. There is an image given in Shankaracharya's explanation of the illusion that the one moon, when it shines in waters, you see several moons. But they are moons. But the multiplicity in the physical world is not only moons, but this one moon becomes moon, star, sun, all sorts of other things. So there is a different type of multiplicity. Multiplicity can be of two types, homogeneous and varied and multiple. Okay? So this is what being and becoming is talked about. We'll quickly go through because you have to see what he's saying, okay? The being is one, but this oneness is infinite and contains in itself an infinite plurality or multiplicity of itself. So of itself is the same. The one moon seems to be the many moons, okay? But the other one is not of itself, of many other things also, okay? So the one is the all, okay? Now this is the second type of multiplicity. The one is the all, it's not only one. It is not only an essential existence, the essential existence is the oneness, okay? One mango seed producing only mangoes. But the other one is the seed which produces everything else, not only itself. Imagine a seed which will produce mangoes, pineapples, apples, jackfruit, whatnot. So that's a multiplicity. That's what he means by all existence. It is not only essential existence, but it's all existence. That's the difference between the two. Okay? So the infinite multiplicity of the one and the eternal unity of the many are the two realities or aspects of one reality on which the manifestation is founded. So what is the manifestation? The creation of the universe. It starts from a infinite multiplicity of the one. It is one, but it contains all the multiplicity in potential. So when you look at it, you will see a oneness. It's a sea which can produce 100 million waves and all different types of waves. One will be a high wave, one will be a low wave, one will be a fast wave, one will be a very lazy wave, one will be a very small one will be a ripple. So all these things are in the sea. This is the infinite multiplicity of the one. The one sea contains infinite multiplicity of waves. Okay? But when it comes down here, you have the multiplicity, and behind the multiplicity, you see the oneness. So take all the waves of the sea, all the waves. What is common to them? Water. So that's oneness behind the multiplicity. So at the highest level, you have oneness with the potential of multiplicity, and at the lower end, you have multiplicity with unity hiding behind each form. That's what is meaning here. Okay? That's what it means by essential existence and all existence. Okay? The infinite multiplicity of the one at the higher level and the eternal unity of the many are the two realities or aspects of one reality on which the manifestation is founded. So manifestation is founded on these two principles. One, multiple. Okay? Static, dynamic. But both are hidden in each other. At the highest level, multiplicity is hiding in the oneness, and at the lower level, the oneness is hiding in the multiplicity. This is what he is saying. Okay, so by reason of this fundamental verity of the manifestation, the being presents itself to our cosmic experience in three poises. So what are these three poises? The supracosmic existence, the cosmic spirit, and the individual self in the many. Or, if you want to use other words, the transcendent, the cosmic, and the individual. You have this concept in many other philosophies also. In Christianity also you have the same. The Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. It's the same. Experience is the same, they experience in a different way.
They have changed the third one now to the Holy Spirit.
Okay.
They don't call it ghost anymore.
Okay.
Interesting.
Earlier the ghost had maybe a different meaning, but
yes,
now...
I think so, yeah.
But now they want to use a word which is more universally accepted. Okay, so that's what Sadhguru is saying. Okay, so supracosmic existence is the transcendent. And what is meant by transcendent? The divine in himself, without the universe. If you have that experience, you will feel that you are outside the universe. The universe doesn't exist for you. Only the divine exists. That's the transcendent. Okay? And you may experience the transcendent in any way. Impersonal, personal, whatever it be. But that is transcendent. Then you have the cosmos. You see the divine in the cosmic manifestation. And then he is there in the individual. And the individual includes human beings, creatures, animals, inanimate objects, everything. Okay? Right down to the atom. By the reason of this fundamental verity of the manifestation, being presents itself to our cosmic experience in three poises: the supracosmic existence, the cosmic spirit, and the individual self in the many. Okay? The individual self in the many, the divine presence in the many. It takes the form of the psychic being. But the psychic being is not there everywhere, it's only there in the human beings.
It's only there?
In the human beings.
In the human beings, yes.
In the stone, it is more the divine presence. And that divine presence is there even in the human being, in a larger way. The divine presence is impersonal, even in human beings. But the personal aspect of the divine in human beings is the psychic. It takes a form and a character. Okay, so but the multiplicity permits of a phenomenal division of consciousness. So, in the multiplicity, you see a division, you see the many, and you think that the many is real. Okay, so but the multiplicity permits of a phenomenon. You have to understand, it means any event in time with a starting point, a development, and an ending point. That's a phenomenon. It has a starting point and an ending point. Everything in the physical world is of that nature. There is not a single thing which is permanent in the physical world. Okay, so but the multiplicity permits a phenomenal division of consciousness, an effectual ignorance in which the many, the individuals, cease to become aware of the eternal self-existent oneness. So, by the time these multiple units come up, you have forgotten the oneness. The wave forgets that it is part of the sea. Okay? And are oblivious, obviously, by which they live. So, cease to become aware of the eternal self-existent oneness and are oblivious of the oneness of the cosmic self in which and by which they live, move and have their being. So, what does this mean? We'll take the example of the human being. Your body has forgotten, in a way of speaking, that it is matter. It is universal matter. Your vital is one small individual formation of universal energy. It is there everywhere. The energy is there everywhere in different forms. It's there in the lightning, it's there in the wind, it's there in the sun shining, it's there in the stars moving, the comet moving. All this is energy. Your vital is a small formation of this universal energy, but it has forgotten. It thinks that it is self-sufficient by itself. Exactly in the same way, the mind also is a small formation of universal mind, but it has forgotten that. Okay. So to get back the memory of what you really are, you depend on this, you have to go to the cosmic consciousness. There you realize that your body is only universal matter formed into a one single organism, point if you want. Okay. The same with the vital and the mind. Okay, so, but the multiplicity permits of a phenomenal division of consciousness and effectual ignorance in which effectual ignorance. Okay, it's not essential ignorance; it is effectual ignorance. Okay, so its effect is ignorance. That the division results in a ignorance, in which the many, the individuals, cease to become aware of the eternal self-existent oneness and are oblivious of the oneness of the cosmic self in which and by which they live. My body is part of universal matter and I cannot exist, my body cannot exist without universal matter. Exactly in the same way, life and mind, okay, by which they live, move and have their being. But by force of the secret unity, the soul in becoming is urged by its own unseen reality and by the occult pressure of universal evolutionary nature to come out of the state of ignorance and recover eventually the knowledge of the one being and its oneness with it, and at the same time to recover its spiritual unity with all individual beings and the whole universe. Now, it's like if you want, a jack in the box. Okay? It's been put down, but the pressure is enough to counter this and it comes up. Okay? So, or you can think also of a collapsible telescope. Okay? Mind is involved in life, life is involved in matter, matter is involved in the inconscient. It's all complex. So it has to come out. Okay. Why? Because the pressure on top is forcing it to come up. And the pressure from below, which is the divine presence, which doesn't want to be imprisoned. The divine presence doesn't want to be imprisoned. Even a human being in a prison doesn't want to be imprisoned. He wants to come out. So when there is an imprisonment of light in darkness, it wants to come out. So that's the force that we were speaking about from inwards. And from outwards also there is a pressure. So this double pressure is what causes the evolution. That's what Svedbe is saying. Okay? And by the occult pressure of evolutionary nature to come out of the state of ignorance and recover eventually the knowledge of the divine being, of the one divine being and its oneness with it, and at the same time to recover its spiritual unity with all individual beings. You realize that your soul is the soul of everybody else. This experience you have when you go to the self. Your individual self is the self of everybody else. So that's when you get the cosmic consciousness. You feel yourself to be one with everybody. Okay, so with all and the universe, you feel yourself to be very much a part of the universe. The universe is making you, and you can become the universe yourself. Everything that is there in the universe is there in you in a compressed form. Right from matter up to the divine presence. It's there in the universe, it's also there in you. You call it the microcosm and the macrocosm. Okay, that's what he's saying. It has to become aware not only of itself in the universe, but of the universe in itself and of the being of cosmos as its greater self. So, it has to become aware not only of itself in the universe. I must know myself. Individual must know himself, but he must also know himself as in the cosmos and the being of cosmos. There is a divine presence in the cosmos itself. That also you have to realize. Okay? And at the same movement to become aware of the supracosmic transcendence. So what Sridhar is saying is, in my integral yoga, you have to know all the three, which is not necessarily the philosophy of others. They say you go to the cosmic, enough. You realize yourself, enough. You go to the transcendent, enough. Sridhar says, no, you must have all the three. Okay? The Buddhists want transcendence. The Mayavadins want only the realization of the self. And the devotee only wants the divine presence within himself. But Sridhar wants all the three. Okay. That's why he insists on knowledge, devotion, and works. You must also continue to do work. Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Karma Yoga. All the three. Okay? This triple aspect of the reality must be included in the total truth of the soul and of the cosmic manifestation. And this necessity must determine the ultimate trend of the process of evolutionary nature. So evolutionary nature is slowly going to reveal all the three aspects: individual, cosmic, and transcendent. Okay? So now, Sridhar continues with his what he can accept and what he cannot accept. He has been giving his own theories. All views of existence that stop short of the transcendence and ignore it must be incomplete accounts of the truth of being. So, which are the ones that don't accept the transcendence? They stop short. Jnana Yoga, okay, Bhakti Yoga also, Buddhists also, they stop short there. They don't realize the transcendence. Okay? They stop short only at the second level. So Sridhar says they are incomplete. They are not false, they are incomplete. Okay? The pantheistic view of the identity of the divine and the universe is a truth. It's true that the divine presence is there in nature. For all this that is the Brahman. Okay? So everything is the Brahman. So the pantheist is right in his own way. But to insist that the divine is only the cosmos, that's a mistake they make. The divine is not only cosmos, but is also transcendent, is also individual. Okay, so the pantheistic view of the identity of the divine and the universe is a truth. For all this that is again style, nobody does this, that all this that is the Brahman. All that exists is the Brahman. Okay, so, but it stops short of the whole truth when it misses and omits the supracosmic reality. You have to admit also the transcendent. On the other side, every view that affirms the cosmos only and dismisses the individual as a byproduct of the cosmic energy errs by laying too much emphasis on one apparent factual aspect of the world action. Okay. Who is this? Which philosophy? The materialist. He says that the world, the cosmos is the only reality. You are a product of this energy, universal energy. Man is nothing but a product of the universal energy. That's a materialism. Okay? On the other side, every view that affirms the cosmos only and dismisses the individual as a byproduct of the cosmic energy errs by laying too much emphasis on one apparent factual aspect of the world action. It is true only of the natural individual and is not even the whole truth of that. Now, what's the natural individual? Body, vital, mind. That's a natural individual. The individual who belongs to nature, and nature is these three: body, mind, life, the lower hemisphere. Okay, so that, and it is not even the whole truth of that. Yeah, you have your body, you have your vital, and you have your mind, but we know nothing of the mental laws. We know nothing of the vital laws. We are beginning to understand the laws of the body, but doctors will tell you very clearly that it's a mystery how it works. We really don't know anything much. It reminds me of that famous, I think it was George Bernard Shaw, I'm not sure. He said a specialist is one who knows more and more about less and less until he discovers that he knows nothing. He knows everything about nothing. So that's the aspect that we have come to know. We realize that however much we know, we still don't know how it works. So, not even the whole truth of that. For the natural individual, body, mind, life, the nature being. Now see, the word being is used in a different way here.
And he hyphenates nature being.
Yes. The existence which belongs to nature, okay, the body, mind, life, is indeed a product of the universal energy, but is at the same time a nature personality of the soul. It is not only a inert body and a vital energy and a mind. No, it is a reflection of the soul. Now this is an interesting fact because there are many descriptions that the proportions of the body are a reflection of the nature of your inner being. From the proportions of your body, they are a reflection of the soul nature. They say that. For instance, they say that Buddha, when he stands, his legs go below the knees. So it's not like that for everybody. So like that, there are many, many different aspects. Okay, but only one who is highly realized soul will be able to see the relation between the inner and the outer. We can't. We find a very beautiful human being, physically beautiful human being, we find it nice. But there may be a lot of impurities in that person. Or a person who is not looking very nice, but he may be the purest person behind. Look at a picture of Ramakrishna. Okay. It's not impressive at all physically, but the purest possible soul. So he's saying, but it is at the same time a nature, personality of the soul. There is something of the soul which is reflected in the body, mind, life. An expressive formation of the inner being in person. There you are. Okay. The soul expresses itself through the body, mind, life. Okay. There is a connection of the inner being and person, and this soul is not a perishable cell or a dissoluble portion of the cosmic spirit, but has its original immortal reality in the transcendence. So, part of you belongs to the cosmos, part of you belongs to the transcendent. Okay, you have a divine being in yourself. It is a fact that the cosmic being expresses itself through the individual being, but also it's a truth that the transcendental reality expresses itself through both the individual existence and the cosmos. So, the transcendent and the cosmic and the individual are not three absolutely separate aspects of the one reality. No, there's a connection. So they're saying there's a connection. You can see the connection. Apparently they seem to be different. The one who has realized the transcendent may not know the divine in the cosmos, may not know the divine in the individual. The one who has seen the divine in the individual may not know the cosmic divine and the transcendent divine. But they are connected. Okay, so the soul is an eternal portion of the Supreme and not a fraction of nature. So there's an interesting thing. It's not a fraction of nature. A fraction, your body is a fraction of matter. Your vital is a fraction of the universal energy. Your mind is a fraction, one small part, not the whole. Okay, so a soul is an eternal portion of Supreme and not a fraction of nature.
Is not a fraction of nature.
Pardon?
Is not a fraction of nature.
Yeah, that's right. Not a fraction of nature. The soul doesn't, it puts on a body, mind, life, and that's the outer covering only. The eternal portion of the Supreme is mentioned very clearly in the Gita also, Amsha Sanatana, an eternal portion of the divine. Note the word portion. The divine is, the psychic being is a portion of the divine, but eternal. Okay. Now, but equally, any view that sees the universe as existence only in the individual consciousness must very evidently be a fragmentary truth. So if you see only the universe as existent, only in the individual consciousness, must very evidently be a fragmentary truth. Now, who is saying this? The materialist also says that the physical universe exists in your mind. It's your senses that are perceiving. If the senses are not there, the world doesn't exist for you. So the world exists in the individual. And that also is a part truth. That's what Sundar is saying. Okay? As existent only in the individual consciousness must very evidently be a fragmentary truth. It is justified by a perception of the universality of the spiritual individual and his power of embracing the whole universe in his consciousness. But neither the cosmos nor the individual consciousness is the fundamental truth of existence, for both depend upon and exist by the transcendental divine being. That is the absolute reality. The cosmic and the individual are dependent realities on the transcendental. So if you remove the transcendental, your philosophy is going to be incomplete. That's what's in there. This divine being, Sat Chit Ananda, is at once impersonal and personal. Okay. It is an existence and the origin and foundation of all truths, forces, powers, existences. But it is also the one transcendent conscious being and the all person of whom all conscious beings are the selves and personalities. For he, H cap, note,
Yes.
is their highest self and the universal indwelling presence. It's a necessity for the soul in the universe and therefore the inner trend of the evolutionary energy and its ultimate intention to know and to grow into this truth of itself, to become one with the divine being, to raise its nature to the divine nature, its existence into the divine existence, its consciousness into the divine consciousness, its delight of being into the divine delight of being, and to receive all this into its becoming, to make the becoming an expression of that highest truth, to be possessed inwardly of the divine self and master of its existence, and to be at the same time wholly possessed by him and moved by his divine energy and live and act in a complete self-giving and surrender. On this side, the dualistic and theistic views of existence, which affirm the eternal real existence of God and the soul, and the eternal real existence and cosmic action of the divine energy express also a truth of the integral existence. But their formulation falls short of the whole truth if it denies the essential unity of God and soul, or their capacity for utter oneness, or ignores what underlies the supreme experience of the merger of the soul in the divine unity through love, through union of consciousness, through fusion of existence in existence. So we are speaking about the dualistic and the theistic views. The dualistic view is the one that says that the divine soul and the individual soul are essentially different. One can have a contact with the divine soul, but can never become the divine soul. There is a Christian theory also.
Yes.
The individual soul is created, but he can never become the divine. That's the dualism. We have that philosophy even in the Indian philosophy also we have the dualistic philosophies. You can have a relation with the divine, but you cannot become the divine. Then there is also the Advaita philosophy which says you can become the divine. Then there is the third one which says you can become the divine, but you can also have a relation with him. If you become the divine, the question of relation does not arise. Where is the relation? You are one. For relation you need two. So the soul and the divine. But they are different and you can have a relation. But the other one, Ramanujam's Bheda Bheda. That means to say you can become the divine and yet have a relation with him. So Sri also mentions that at the highest level, if you are one with the divine, love is possible. But it seems very difficult for one person to have love. If there is only oneness, whom will you love? Love needs a relationship. But it is possible. Love and Ananda is possible even in the unity of the divine.
But it is a divine love.
Yes, of course.
Of course, yes.
Okay, so that's what Swami is saying. So there is a truth in that and there is a truth in the theistic views also. The theistic view is that there is a divine, okay, and the dualistic is the one that says that the human soul and the divine can have a relation, but they are different. So all these are all partial truths, Swami is saying. Okay, so the final sentence here is very interesting. So it's a huge sentence. We'll read that sentence again. On this side, the dualistic and theistic views of existence, which affirm the eternal real existence of God and the soul, and the eternal real existence and cosmic action of the divine energy, express also a truth of the integral existence. But their formulation, the way they express, falls short of the whole truth if it denies the essential unity of God and soul, or their capacity for utter oneness, or ignores what underlies the supreme experience of the merger of the soul in the divine unity. And the divine unity merging is possible through love, through consciousness, and through substance. Your substance becomes the substance of the divine, existence in existence. Okay? I'll just read the summary of what this para is. So, the divine being is Sat Chit Ananda. It is simultaneously impersonal and personal at the highest level. Because at the second level, when you have the experience of the Brahman, the personal aspect is not there. Only the impersonal aspect is there. You experience a consciousness. You experience freedom. You experience maybe even power or Ananda, but nobody is there. So it's the impersonal aspect of the divine. But at the third level, he can be personal as well as impersonal. Okay? But equally, It is the conscious person, though universal, of all individuals, animate and inanimate. He, as person, is the master, lord, and ruler of the universe. All forms, powers, objects are only representations, symbol of this Satchidananda. He is also the indwelling presence in all things, the many in the world. Thus, it is necessary for the individual soul in the many to know him and become one with him in every way, in consciousness, in power, in bliss, and in substance. By surrender and self-giving, the soul by surrender and self-giving, the soul must possess and be possessed by him in the becoming. The divine must possess you, and you must also possess the divine qualities. Both. Okay? The theories which affirm the reality of God and the individual soul do express a truth. Okay? Dualism and theistic views are all valid, but they do not express the complete truth if they do not confirm the essential oneness of the two. The soul can merge fully into God with consciousness, with love, and with substance. That's what he has said.
Thank you, Ranga.
689.
689, the manifestation of the divine being. Namaste all, and thank you for attending. We will continue on Monday, The Aim of Life, 4 Theories of Existence, page 689, beginning with the sentence, the manifestation of the being in our universe. Namaste.